Let's go while we're young.
Thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a while, and I have to get my feet wet again. You hear a lot of people talk. This is a constant in our daily lives, probably family lives. People we know at work, at school. You talk to anybody, pop culture. It's in films and television. There are good emotions and there are bad emotions. And I just don't take to that. I don't take to that at all. They're all good. Well, maybe I should say not good. They're all necessary. They're all completely necessary. Oh, but hate is a bad emotion. No, it's not. Ill-directed hate. Excessive hate. Poorly timed hate is bad. It's negative. It's damaging to yourself as much as anybody else. Same with fear. And too much will make you too gun shy in any day-to-day life, and you'll risk less and earn less. Or not enough fear. Too risky. Too reckless. Obvious downside to that. Other emotions as well, including shame, guilt, remorse. Too much will slow your life down or be an obstacle and prevent you from moving forward. It's extremely important. Well, what the hell does this have to do with any movie? What does this have to do? This is not a rant of mine. I suppose it is in a way, but this is the time of year in the religious calendar, for Catholics anyways. It's Easter time. That's for Christians, but it's important throughout Lent, at some point, once a year, you got to go to confession, at least once a year, before Easter, really. But pop culture uses confession just to show everyone who's a hypocrite. And that's frustrating because, well, it ain't just the Catholics who are hypocrites, my friends. Everyone knows that. It's the human condition. We've got that problem. It's very easy for us to say one thing and do another. When it's used right, when it's used well, and not a crutch, not just a one-note deal, not a one-trick pony for a character in a movie or a television show. He's an asshole. He's Catholic. He's a hypocrite. Yeah, we don't just go into a damn box and say a bunch of words to an old person who tells us a bunch of words to say another bunch of words, and then everything's fine again. That's not exactly how it works. It's not exactly what goes on. If you want to, as my old man would say, if you want to boil the piss out of it, fine. That's what you're going to end up with. But it's more than that. There's a hell of a lot more. You're stripping away all other context. The confession, as far as I'm concerned, helps you move forward. And there's a number of occasions where I've seen this used to good effect in movies and television, but in particular, one movie I want to mention today. In The Sopranos, the main gangsters, the main mobsters, they would always refer to this movie series. It's not a franchise, it just happens to be 3 movies. They would refer to it by the number of the movie. 1, 2, or 3. I was watching 2 last night. Yeah, that scene. Hey, Sil, do the line from 3. So it's The Godfather. And 3 is what I'm talking about. I know what I want to get out of that movie. And the confessional scene is one of the greatest scenes. Michael is in Rome. Technically, he's in the Vatican City. He's at the Vatican, speaking with Cardinal Lamberto, who is one of the good ones, the next pope, a good man. And he knows that he's a good man, but he knows reality. He knows that even in the heart of the Vatican, swimming through centuries of Catholic faith, deep down inside some of those stones, the water has not penetrated. But he knows Michael's got a problem. Michael obviously does. I mean, it's been manifested by this diabetic attack that he's had a couple of times.
The mind suffers, and the body cries out.
So he implores him If he had a confession, it's been 30 years since he's had confession, and he doesn't. Half jokingly, Michael says to the cardinal,
I'd use up too much of your time, I think.
trying to get out of it. But he wants it. Anybody would. Especially if you've lived the life that Michael Corleone has. The man in 2 killed his brother. Anyone seen 2 knows why he takes the course of action that he does. He feels personally hurt, wounded by his brother, who was jealous. In excess of the jealousy emotion. In excess, that's for Fredo, in excess of hurt and unresolved hurt and emotional pain from Michael. What does he do? He kills his brother. And that has set him on a path that, personally, he's got trouble with his family. He wants to get out of the whole mafia deal. He's got to go through confession. He has to. He doesn't believe that he can be saved. What's the point of confession? He says it right out. At the end of the confession, the cardinal says,
Your life would be redeemed. But I know that you don't believe that. You will not change.
so he does not get reconciliation, but he is the one in the way. That is the way it is for so many of us going into confession. You're supposed to prepare. Michael didn't go there to confess, but he's played that thing over in his head over and over and over again. He knows exactly what he needs to confess. You do what everyone does. You start with the small stuff. You kind of dip your toe in, warm up into the water, dance around the thing, but eventually you get there. You're supposed to prepare this stuff. You're supposed to know what you're going to say, but it's not uncommon. You get there and all the words just drain out of your head. You don't know what you're going to say. Michael eventually gets there, and the way he says it, the way he describes, he says he's killed men and had men killed, and he killed his brother. And before he breaks down, he's Italians say this. Some people, other people. For me, it's Italians. I started saying this a lot when after my son was born. I'd say to my wife at the time, I'd say, "Do you know what your son did?" It's not my son. You know what your son did? It directs the action to the person you're talking to. You talk about their relationship with the subject. I've done that to other members of my family. And it tends to be when I'm not connected here. I'm the impartial judge. You know what your son did? You know what your whoever did? It can show distance that you want to put between somebody that you're talking about. I'm not connected. I am objective, or I'm not related to this son of a bitch. It can do that. It can underscore that not my problem, it is your problem. Or I think in Michael's case, it is very different. He's highlighting that this actually affects more people. His mother and father may be dead, but he has killed somebody that was important to other people, his parents, his family. Now, we could get down a big road that, how Connie talks about it, especially it's in 3. I get the impression Connie knows what happened. But how does she talk? She eases Michael's conscience. In fact, I think right after the confession scene, within another couple of scenes, there's a scene with Connie, and she's giving Michael the insulin shot.
Sometimes I think of poor Fredo, drowned. It was God's will. It was a terrible accident. But it's finished.
And she's quite possibly undoing the confession. She is backtracking. She's telling the family lie. Or she's obscuring the family truth. So not only do we have a confession, we have an unconfession. The right confession that should bring Michael reconciliation, but he doesn't believe he can get it. So the next thing he does is he tells Connie. He confesses to Connie that he's gone to confession. She backs him off on that and helps remove the guilt, helps remove the remorse by telling the story. And she is the confessor, the anti-confessor. All he's got to do is get to the door, open the door, and walk through. But he goes to Connie and she closes the door. Anyway, that's maybe more to look at Godfather and the various characters another time, Connie in particular, maybe another time. Until next time, I appreciate you guys stopping by and enduring and humoring me. We'll talk again sometime soon. Until that time, you folks, please do take care.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Zappuccino. Fucking spitting image.